For a time, it was the purest image on the internet. The symbol of uncomplicated joy beamed around the world from a small island off the coast of Western Australia. The quokka, officially branded the world's happiest animal. But what if this smile hides a brutal secret? A survival strategy so harsh, it forces a mother to make an unthinkable choice. But every bright light casts a shadow. And as the quokka's fame grew, so too did a darker narrative. It wasn't born from scientific journals or documentaries, but from the digital wilderness of online forums and comment sections. A modern piece of folklore. The story goes that early observers, perhaps even rangers or local guides trying to explain a shocking event they'd witnessed, described a mother quokka ejecting its joey under threat. Over countless retellings online, that description morphed. Ejecting became sacrificing. Involuntary became deliberate. The nuance was lost, and a monster was created.
So a game of internet telephone, basically. Someone saw a confusing, dramatic event, and the web filled in the gaps with the most dramatic explanation possible.
Precisely. It became a perfect, shareable piece of dark trivia, a horrifying image that was just plausible enough to be believable, especially for an animal whose true nature was already hidden behind a permanent smile. But to find the truth, we need to separate the selfie from the science. To understand the darkness, we first have to understand the light. Our story begins not in the ancient Australian bush, but in the much more recent landscape of the digital age. The year is 2012. The age of the selfie is dawning. And on Rottnest Island, a unique opportunity presents itself. The local quokka population, largely unafraid of humans due to a lack of natural predators, becomes the perfect subject.
Right, so their main evolutionary purpose on that island was to become the ultimate fluffy accessory for a Tinder profile. Nature is truly majestic.
Precisely. The quokka selfie craze exploded, and with it a global narrative was born. This wasn't just an animal, it was a living emoji. But as the phenomenon grew, it was supercharged by some very famous faces. Each celebrity post acted like a signal boost, reaching millions and cementing the quokka's happy-go-lucky persona into global pop culture. But this entire image is built on a fundamental and deeply human cognitive bias. The official report would call it anthropomorphism, but the reality is something more primal.
Our brains are wired for pattern recognition. It's an ancient survival tool that helps us quickly identify friend from foe. And the most powerful pattern we're programmed to find is a human face and the emotions it conveys. This tendency is so powerful, we see faces in clouds and power outlets, and in the bone structure of a small marsupial.
Hang on, Bruce. What now? You're saying our brains are basically playing connect the dots on this poor animal's face? In a way, yes. We see the upward curve of the quokka's mouth, and our brain doesn't just register it as anatomy, it registers it as a smile. It then instinctively attaches the corresponding emotion, happiness. From there we build an entire personality, friendly, harmless, joyful, all based on a misinterpretation of its facial muscles.
Right, so our brains are just seeing happy faces everywhere. It makes you wonder how many other animals we've gotten completely wrong. I'm officially turning this investigation over to the legends in the comments. What's the one animal you reckon is the most misunderstood on the planet, and why? Drop your case files below.
It's a crucial point because that projection makes it almost impossible to see the animal for what it really is, a master of survival, shaped by millions of years of brutal evolutionary pressure. To truly grasp the stakes of a predator attack, we have to understand the immense biological investment a mother makes in her young. It's a process far more complex than for most mammals. After a mere 27-day pregnancy, a quokka gives birth to a single, bean-sized joey. It's essentially an embryo, blind, hairless, and utterly helpless. It undertakes a perilous journey crawling unassisted from the birth canal into the pouch. For the next 6 months, the pouch is its entire world. But the mother's reproductive strategy is even more remarkable. She often has another dormant embryo ready and waiting in a state of suspended animation, a biological feature known as embryonic diapasis.
A backup baby? So it's like biological cloud storage. She loses one and just clicks download next Joey from the queue. That's the core of it.
If the first Joey is lost, her body can immediately resume the development of the backup embryo without needing to mate again. It's an incredibly efficient system for reproducing in a hostile environment, ensuring the continuation of her genetic line with minimal delay.
So it's not like she can just pop down to the shops for another one. That's a massive amount of time and energy.
Exactly. And this is where the popular myth clashes with scientific reality. The story of a mother throwing her baby implies a conscious choice, an act of betrayal. But the truth is far more mechanical, and in some ways, even more brutal. Imagine the scene. A predator closes in. The mother's body is flooded with adrenaline. Her heart rate skyrockets. This is a moment of pure physiological terror. In that state of extreme stress, something remarkable and involuntary happens. The muscles that control the pouch relax. They go limp. The Joey, which has been held securely inside, simply falls out. It's not a throw, it's a drop, an accident born from terror. And in that moment, the predator has a new, easier target.
Wow. So she doesn't throw the baby just gets ejected.
That's the core of it. And this isn't a unique cruelty of the quokka. This physiological response has been observed in other marsupials, like wallabies and kangaroos. It's not a moral failing, it's a deeply embedded evolutionary adaptation. And if you're finding this look behind the curtain of nature fascinating, now is the perfect time to subscribe to the channel. We go beyond the simple stories to bring you the truth every single week.
So the Joey is basically an unpaid intern. Low priority, high risk, and the first one out the door in a crisis. Cheery stuff.
In the cold calculus of survival, yes. The mother is reproductively valuable. She has spent years learning how to find food, avoid danger, and navigate her territory. She can and will have more offspring. The Joey, tragically, is a biological gamble. Sacrificing one allows the proven survivor, the mother, to live and breed another day. This is the brutal logic that allows a species to endure. To understand why this brutal survival trait is so critical, you need to understand that we are talking about two entirely different worlds. It's a tale of two quokkas. The first world is Rottnest, Ireland. On paper, it's part of Australia, but in reality, it's a kind of ecological time capsule. Separated from the mainland over 7,000 years ago by rising sea levels, it was isolated from the predators that would later dominate the continent. There are no foxes, no dingoes, no feral cats. For a quokka, it's a paradise. Then, there is the second world, the mainland. This is the quokka's ancestral home, and today, it is a battlefield. Here, they face a constant threat from introduced predators that their species never evolved to handle. Their populations are fragmented, vulnerable, and listed as a protected species. The Joey drop isn't some abstract theory here. It is a desperate last-ditch evolutionary gamble played out in the shadows.
So one population is living in a gated community and the other is stuck in the Wild West. No wonder they behave differently.
So we have a clear scientific explanation, an involuntary physiological response, not a conscious choice. The case should be closed. Yet, the myth of the malicious mother not only survives, it thrives. The question is why? The answer lies in the battle between information and narrative. Our brains aren't wired to remember dry data, they're wired to remember stories. And the myth of the quokka is a powerful story. It has a clear victim, the innocent Joey, and a shocking villain, the smiling mother. It's a narrative that creates a strong emotional response.
Betrayal and sacrifice is way more interesting than involuntary muscle contractions. It's got that soap opera twist.
Exactly. The scientific truth is complex, emotionally neutral, and requires us to confront the uncomfortable reality that nature doesn't operate by human morals. The myth, however, is simple. It provides a clean, albeit false, moral judgment, and when faced between a complex truth and a simple, compelling lie, we are often seduced by the lie. The popular narrative that associates happiness with the Quokka's face and cruelty with its survival instinct is the result of that strong human tendency to anthropomorphize it. We assign it human emotions to make sense of its behavior, often ignoring the cold, hard evolutionary logic that truly drives it.
Indeed, and this is the ultimate ripple effect of the Quokka's story. It holds up a mirror to us, and the reflection isn't always flattering. It reveals our deep-seated need to package the wild, chaotic, and amoral natural world into simple, digestible fables that fit our own moral framework.
So we'd rather believe in a monster than accept that nature is just complicated and a bit brutal. The real oddity isn't the Quokka at all. It's us. Exactly. The Quokka's smile isn't for us, it's a mirror. And by imposing our stories onto it, we risk obscuring the very truths that might be essential to helping it continue to survive.
Right, and trust me, the next case file we're opening up proves just how weird our relationship with these critters can get. If you're into digging into these bizarre stories, make sure you join the legends on the journey.
The Quokka story is about a brutal, involuntary choice made in a moment of terror. But what happens when the choice is voluntary? When an entire city decides to face its deepest fear armed with nothing but a spoon? Join us as we uncover the incredible story of Australia's bizarre alliance with its deadliest spider. The case file is on your screen now. We'll see you there.